Hey, shuckalaka kapow! How's it going, old schoolers? You are kicking it old school with Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS, back for another album battle royale going based on the tracks, how many good tracks these albums have. And oh man, do I got a doozy here. To me, two of the greatest bands that ever come out of the 70s and thrive on into the 80s and so on and so forth, are their second albums, or, they would say the sophomore album, are going to battle it out today. Who am I talking about? You wanted the best, you got the best, the hottest band in the world, Kiss Hotter Than Hell, versus the one, the only, the quartet, the crazy wild quartet from Pasadena, Van Halen 2. Now, the thing is, what inspired me to do this one, where I want to put these two great albums back to back, go against each other, is sure, Kiss was already established by 1978, when Van Halen had put out their self-titled debut. But here's some things that a lot of people don't know, and I'm sure a lot of you Kiss purists and Van Halen purists probably know a lot about. It has been said in Gene Simmons' autobiography, and I believe I'll have to go back to the book if it's not true. It was in the book Running with the Devil, where Kiss was on support. They were on tour in support of Love Gun. They had already done Destroyer, and then because Kiss, they were constantly touring and recording back in the 70s, because I guess that's what you did in those days, while your band was hot, you had to go ahead and you had to go ahead tour in support of the new album. And in the midst of it, you also had to take your spare time to go ahead and start putting songs together for the next album, which I'm sure, while Ace and Peter were dabbling in partying, and Gene and Paul were, probably going ahead doing their fair share of partying, but partying clean. I think Gene and Paul were more interested in all the girls than they were the nose candy and the booze and all the other, other stuff that make a person go mad in those days. Because, man, the 70s, what a time that was. A time I don't remember. I was just born in the tail end of that, okay? I was born in the summer of 78, so I didn't really... The only thing I got was the music, watching the old TV shows, looking at all the nostalgia and reading the books about it, about how things go. But here's the thing. Gene took time out while Kiss was in LA. They were, resting during the tour. And he went out, he was checking out all the clubs on the Sunset Strip, all those clubs, the Whiskey A Go-Go, Gazzari's, whatever was open then. I know the Roxy is still open, and so is the Whiskey. But, a lot of places like Gazzari's, I believe, are gone. I don't know. If any of you did any partying in that scene back then and you're watching this video, leave a comment. Tell me what's there and what's not there. But Gene, I guess he was just club hopping. He had a female acquaintance with him probably. And he saw what would become Van Halen on the stage performing. He was blown away. And he went to talk with the boys. He went to talk with Eddie, Dave, and Alex and Mike, and say, hey, I'd like to fly you out to New York, do a demo, see what we can come out. I could talk to some record exec guys. Well, needless to say, Gene flew them out to New York to record a demo, and it didn't really get anywhere, but it did get in the hands of Warner Brothers execs, which would go ahead and they would sign them to Warner Brothers. And I got the guy's book. I think I advertised it once before. The tour manager of Van Halen. He wrote the book Running with the Devil. He had just got done with that not so successful Sex Pistols US tour, where the Sex Pistols would break up in their last stop in San Francisco. But needless to say, I wanted to do this to commemorate that moment. Put another Kiss album up against, put Kiss's second record up against Van Halen 2. So, without further ado, let's see where these bad Oscars rank out, shall we? And if you're new to the channel, remember to hit a like button, subscribe, leave comments down in that box below right there. Ring the bell for notifications for future videos. Now, let the Battle Royale commence. All right, in the case of Kiss Hotter Than Hell versus Van Halen 2, we've got to Choose versus You're No Good. Now, I love both these tunes. I mean, I love that intro, that dun 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 dun. I mean, the band's got, all four of them, Gene, Paul, Ace, and Peter. They got a great groove going on right there. And it sounded good on a live as well. Up against You're No Good, which was a cover song. I think, who was it? She did the song later on, It's So Easy. I forgot her name. It's so easy to fall in love. That woman. Oh, Linda Ronstadt. Yeah, my bad. All right, and she did that song early on as well, and I think even her version was a cover. I'm not sure. I'm not a big Linda Ronstadt, enthusiast, aficionado. I mean, all you Linda Ronstadt aficionados out there, you could probably help me out on that one as well. But Van Halen's cover of You're No Good, doesn't matter if hers was original or a cover. One way or the other, I think that version where Eddie's doing the whammy dives and, and I love Got to Choose. So you know what? I can't choose one or the other. I'm giving them both a point. Parasite versus Dance the Night Away. That's one of Van Halen's most overplayed tracks. It's all right. But to me, penned by Ace Frehley, sang by Gene Simmons, and it rocks harder than Dance the Night Away. I gotta go with Parasite. Going Blind versus Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Oh man, this is another one where I listened to them both and I couldn't decide which was better than the other, so I had to go with it. I had to go ahead and give them each a point. Hotter Than Hell versus Bottoms Up. Hotter Than Hell is okay, but you know what? It can't hold a candle to Bottoms Up, so therefore Bottoms Up gets that point. Let Me Go Rock and Roll versus Out of Love Again. Again, another Kiss song that can't live up to, a harder Van Halen tune. So I've got to go. I'm going with Out of Love Again. All the Way versus Light Up the Sky. Well, here's where we're at right now. We got Hotter Than Hell with 3 points and Van Halen 2 with 4 points. And this is what I say. Light Up the Sky was okay, but I like All the Way better. Watching You versus Spanish Fly. That's one of Kiss's heaviest tracks of that era. And it's going up against a half-a-minute instrumental of Eddie on an acoustic guitar doing a mix of flamenco and his tapping. And you know what? Both tracks are awesome, so they're both getting a point. Main Line versus DOA. I couldn't really tell. I think that I really love the way the song grooves for Main Line. I think that's Peter Criss singing. Yeah, that is definitely Peter Criss singing. It's going up against DOA, and to me, both tracks rock, so both tracks get a point. Coming Home versus Women in Love. Women in Love, I like that intro, but, it doesn't have that kind of groove that I like in Coming Home. So Coming Home takes the point for that. now here we are. Strange Ways versus Beautiful Girls. I love, Beautiful Girls. I do really love that song. It's a great track. I mean, I always think of, when I hear that song, I always think of that one commercial bit that Adam Sandler and Chris Farley did on Saturday Night Live years ago, where they're the two guys renting the house. The place is a dump, and then they go over to the pool, and it looks even shabbier until Adam Sandler turns on a faucet, fills the pool with water, and everything turns all nice, and you're thinking, oh man, this is going to be one of those great beer commercials where you see all the beautiful women in bikinis. Instead, it's a bunch of buff dudes in Speedos going, looks like you guys need to get a little wet. And they're like, thank you. I'm trying not to be offensive here. The ad is called Schmidt's Gay, and it did parody those beach, those beer commercials we used to see on the beach or at a swimming pool of all the women in bikinis. But, it's a great track, Beautiful Girls, but it just can't compete with Strange Ways. All right, now the end result. Kiss Hotter Than Hell versus Van Halen 2. We got Hotter Than Hell with 8 points, and we got Van Halen 2 with 6 points, so you know what that means. Yes, you see it right here, folks. Kiss Hotter Than Hell is the big winner. Now, I'm not looking really good right now. I just woke up about an hour or so ago and I just shaved. So I'm going to be getting ready to get a shower. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm probably going to have another one come up. It's going to be, oh man. I don't know. I may get a lot of backlash on the next video because of the subject. Maybe I won't, but if you're going to make any opinions about it, any objectives, be positive in the comments section, because I will delete nasty comments. But, like I said, I've got other things in the works as usual. The only thing is I can't do the videos when I want to do the videos because, sometimes when you're working 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday, and you got other things you got to take care of when you get home. You got to pay your bills. You got to pay your bills. You got to take care of the dog. I'm taking care of my mother and father and, all kinds of stuff. I'm trying to maintain my rent, maintain my car payment, my monthly insurance, which, can you believe this? My monthly car insurance for a 2021 Chevy Equinox, road trip, cost me $262 a month, full coverage. Isn't that ridiculous? I could see that if I was driving, if I still had Mustang Sally, or if I was driving a Camaro or a Corvette or a Lexus. But for a not so high-end Chevrolet SUV, come on. Nothing against, I love that Equinox, I really do, but I think I'm just paying too dang much for car insurance. I think car insurance, when it comes to tag and title and all that garbage with your car, and along with having car insurance, I think it's a big scam. It's highway robbery. I don't know. Tell me what you think. At any rate, as usual, I want you to keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill, keep listening to old school music, keep watching old school movies and TV shows, play some old school video games, kick it old school, and, remember to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in that box down below, ring the bell for notifications, and remember to tell all your friends, tell your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your grandma, your grandpa, your pets, your coworkers, your classmates, your roommates. Help me get this channel building. I saw that there's 185 subscribers on this channel. I'm really happy about, even though I've had this channel going for nearly 10 years. But you know what? I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for that. And, you know, having 185 subscribers in 10 years is better than having none. You know, I think to myself, you know, if I get up to 200 subscribers, I'll be like, dang, 800 more. And maybe I can set up a PayPal and I could get, you know, a spreadsheet going, and maybe I can make merch. You know, I'm getting ready to, you know, draw up concept designs of what I would do for merch, you know, for like t-shirts, keychains, hats, bumper stickers, the whole kit and caboodle. And, you know, I mean, it would really mean the heart. I mean, I would love to go ahead and be able to do this full time. I wouldn't mind. I would love to just quit my job and do this full time, just make videos, you know. But, you know, maybe, you know, God willing, something will happen. But anyway, I want you to get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less drama, less chaos, no chaos. You know, just chill, kick back, you know, kick some old school, man. Kick it out old school as usual. And as usual, I want to wish you all Godspeed. May the force be with you always. And shakalaka kapow!